Welcome, everybody, to the China Show, the real China Show. We've got a fantastic show for you today.
We do.
What are we giving a shout out today?
Shout out to it's episode 243, right?
Yes, 243.
243. So shout out to the area code 243. If you are in the Democratic Republic of Congo and you're Congolese and you're watching today, shout out to you.
Absolutely.
Big shout out to everyone that normally watches our show. Mm-hmm. If you're new here, you're going to have a great time. You also might be a little upset at some of the stuff, but we won't make you too upset.
Oh, of course. No, it's a very mixed show today. There's a lot of things happening in China right now, which, of course, the Chinese government is trying very hard to suppress, but we're going to shine a little bit of light onto it.
Yes. Which thing in particular are you talking about?
You'll see. You'll see. Anyway, guys, we're going to start out with what's new, and this is where we talk about what's new specifically with regards to China. And we wanted to start out with something that's kind of funny.
Yes, this is funny.
It doesn't look like a funny scene. Don't worry, those are fake BB guns. In fact,
this is a parody of Indian films.
Yes.
From India, like Bollywood, when they like fly around in cars and do flips and stuff.
Yeah.
Anyway, China put this out. This is like from a Chinese creator.
You may have seen this because it's hilarious. I know this clip's been going around.
The thing is, I want you to notice that guy, the shirtless man, he was uncensored. Now he becomes censored.
And this is what we're pointing out here. Take a look. Automatically, the Chinese internet, when you watch movies and films, if it detects any kind of nipples, it
or
censors
cleavage.
it. Or cleavage, even the slightest amount of cleavage, it censors it. So it's just kind of hilarious how it's automatically censoring this bare-chested man.
I love that so much. You know what? They should have leaned into it and like made fun of that aspect because it's very funny.
Yeah.
That it's like doing that to men.
Yes.
It's pretty funny.
It is pretty funny.
Yeah.
But it glitches. It goes on and off. What do we got going on over here?
Do you guys remember? Well, let's just play this clip first.
Yes. We showed you something called ash eggs. So I'm going to get out of here. Well, we're going to get out of here. Me personally. And you can,
we're kind of doubled up.
You can follow me, okay?
I'll follow you.
All right. And then we're going to show you what we're talking about. Okay. So here.
You know what I'd send him?
What?
A year's supply of eggs. Like regular eggs that he can cook any way he wants.
Yes, exactly.
In a pan.
Yeah, send him a non-stick frying pan.
That would be fantastic.
Yes.
Wouldn't that be a nice thing to do?
Oh, yeah. I'd definitely start a charity just for him.
I don't think we'll ever find him, though, because he's quite literally ascended in this shot.
Yeah. He's just like, I'm out.
She takes her last bite, and that was the moment. His soul just...
I'm gone.
Disappeared. It's very funny that that's what happened. Okay, pause that. So, ash eggs. We talked about this. The old lady is doing traditional Chinese food, as she was saying.
Yeah, and she's like featured on the show.
Yes, and cooks these eggs in an ash.
Yes.
Right? And it looks disgusting and expects us to believe this is some sort of traditional food. Her husband in the background looks so miserable, it's not even funny, and then just ascends out of the shot because he's basically like, I think he's gone through his entire life, this is what I said, watching his wife cook things really weird and bad, and he's like, well, I'll put up with it. Then state media shows up, films like a documentary about this crap, and they're like, you've just validated her mental instability.
Yes, and the poor husband is always suffering in the background, right?
So I found a sequel.
A sequel?
I'm not even joking.
Okay.
Let's see what happens.
All right, let's take a look, guys. So that, by the way, is horrific.
Yes.
This is like a hornet's nest.
Yes.
Okay.
She's dipping in alcohol.
So they've taken alcohol, and I guess it stuns, and then they die?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then you make alcohol out of the wasps.
Yeah. Okay, so they got a couple hanging on there. She's back with the eggs.
And her husband.
What?
So you put jidan and hornet alcohol.
Okay.
Lights it on fire.
So she's...
Eggs again,
by the way, this proves that she has a freaking pan.
Yeah, she does.
She's got to walk. She's got to walk. She doesn't need to cook eggs in ash. This whole time, she's had an actual... The husband could have had like lovely scrambled eggs, maybe throw in a couple of chopped onions and tomato.
But no.
Maybe some mushrooms.
Instead, husband has to sit in the background again, just being absolutely miserable. Why are you here with professional cameras feeding my wife's mental instability?
Yeah, I mean, so now it's like eggs with dead wasps.
Yes. Let's let her... It's like letting a kid do a thing.
Yes. It's like a dirt mud pie.
Pause that.
Okay.
It's eggs on fire.
Yes.
With hard alcohol, like Baijiu.
Yeah.
And dead wasps.
Dead wasps.
And he's like, can we just eat normal eggs for once?
Yeah, I know.
You see him in the background, he's still sad.
Yeah, look at him. He's very unenthusiastic. Look at that guy. He's out of there. He's out of there.
He's gone. He's gone now. He's gone.
Yeah, he's completely gone.
He doesn't want to be there anymore.
No.
It's the final straw, but the final straw is again. It happened again. I wonder if there'll be more.
You had an omelet full of ants, didn't you?
I did.
Your mother-in-law gave it to you?
Yeah, so she goes, I heard this is really good for you. I'm like, what is it? I'll try anything. She made an omelet that was half eggs, half ants.
Half ants.
And it tasted kind of how you'd expect. It felt like little lasers piercing my mouth over and over because of the formic acid.
Yeah.
God's telling you, don't eat ants. Don't eat ants. God's like, don't do it.
Yep.
It's gonna hurt. It hurts. It feels, when you put tin foil in your mouth or like
dude, when I was a
batteries?
kid, I remember eating ants and I thought they were biting my tongue. But it was actually just
it's
the
the
acid.
formic acid.
Yeah.
Imagine that times thousands.
Yeah.
You get a bite of ants.
I just don't know why you'd want to eat ants or wasps for that matter. By the way, we have eaten wasps in China,
Murder
part of our
hornets.
documentary. Anyway, yeah, those big murder hornets, those
Yes.
Asian giant hornets.
I love that he disappeared again.
Yes, me too. I would too. I would disappear permanently if my wife was cooking wasp eggs and ash eggs and who knows what else. She's probably walking around the house finding random things to cook eggs with.
Till death do us part. I say till egg do us part.
Yeah, I know. Seriously, what do you think?
No more experimental eggs.
Dude, don't let her near the dog turds outside because that's going in next.
You think that's next?
Absolutely.
I will be surprised if I find a sequel, but there might be.
I mean, remember, this is China where you can buy little boy urine eggs.
Where they boil them in piss.
They boil the eggs.
And then this lady eats them.
Yeah, so just saying. Anyway, let's move on. We got a couple of funny clips that we want to go through.
This is a good hack that I do all the time.
Okay.
Yeah. So the guy's like, I'm trying to get his grilled corn.
Wait a second, but
I know.
she doesn't feel
It's
heat.
a plot twist.
She doesn't feel the heat.
Yeah, apparently
okay.
not. She's dead on her hands.
Okay, yeah.
I don't do that part. But yeah, you put a chopstick in the corn. I don't know why she kissed it. Anyway, that's actually a really good hack. You put the chopstick in the corn.
Yeah.
And I do that for my kids. So they don't burn their hand and you don't have to touch buttered corn, with the slimy butter all over it. And then you can just eat it like this. It's a good hack.
Yeah, it's not bad. Yeah, I mean, I like the idea of getting my hands all dirty when you eat corn anyway. I mean, it's part of it.
Yeah, true.
Yep. Oh, man, it's missed opportunity for that gentleman. I give you corn clip.
We don't need that at all. We don't need
Oh,
that at
well,
all.
yeah. Are you sure? Anyway, yeah.
That bothered me a lot.
So we have a couple of animal revenge clips here.
Yeah, there's a trend going around on the Chinese internet right now where animals get revenge on people.
Yeah.
Which is kind of refreshing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Let's take a quick look. Yeah. What?
Like this.
Oh, hang on. I'm blocking that.
That part's good. You don't have to start the whole thing over.
No, just that part. Yeah.
That guy
You gotta see
is
that.
amazing.
Yeah.
Because it's like two things happen to him. The dogs rip his pants off and then pull him out the door.
That's pretty epic. What's going on here with the monkey? Oh, rough.
Someone has their hand on that
Yeah,
lobster.
that lobster,
Someone
yeah.
did that.
And someone definitely did that, Don't go near those. That's stupid monkey.
盘点那些不干人水的动物。
Geese in China are vicious, by the way. They're used as guard dogs, as we told you.
Yeah, for sure.
And they're good guard dogs.
That's good. Yeah. Yeah, don't steal the baby.
He just geared up to kick her and she didn't see it coming.
Oh, yeah, we showed that one.
Yeah. Yikes.
That's pretty classic.
Whoa!
Yeah, nice.
That guy was a beast.
Yeah. What is that fish?
I love those. There's a type of snakefish. They're actually banned in America.
Oh, they are?
Yeah.
Why?
Invasive.
Oh, okay.
They're cool though.
Gotcha. Oh, llama spit or
I always hear
alpaca.
about that, but I never see it happen in real life.
What's the difference between an alpaca and a llama?
They are different.
Yeah.
I don't care.
Okay. Yeah, gotcha.
They're the same to me.
Yeah. All right.
There's actually a guy near.
Yeah.
Never mind.
Yeah, exactly. He does alpacas, yeah. Or are they llamas? I don't know.
I don't remember.
Yeah.
He doesn't do them.
No. Raises
He
them.
raises them. Oh,
Okay, guys, before we get into, we got some fun stuff to show you.
We do.
We've got our very last before Christmas shout out for this. So please, everybody, take a look at our special announcement. It's the Shaban Ho 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 holiday sale.
Shaban Ho is our Monday show where we get up to some serious shenanigans. It's a full episode every single Monday, and if you like the China show, you'll like this even more.
For the holiday season, get locked in now to get a Shaban Ho subscription for half price.
Wow, so good.
You get 4 episodes every single month right after they finish airing live, as well as access to the entire 100-plus episode backlog of your favorite Monday show.
Great. Current full-price Shaban Ho members will be upgraded to Shaban Ho Live, where you can still see Shaban Ho Live, participate in the stream, have your questions answered, and choose the next topic.
It's up to you what you want, but either way, it's the best time to get on board, and it's definitely what you want, I assure.
This is definitely what you want, I assure.
Okay, guys, so that is the last time you'll ever see that advert.
I'm sad. If you go to patreon.com/ADV podcast, you will get it's the last time for the sale promotion.
Yeah, for the Shaban
Our sale
Ho Ho Ho
promotion
sale.
is Shaban Ho 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 sale. What that is you get Shaban Ho, our Monday show, half price.
Yes.
There's 100+ episodes available. Mm-hmm. The live people that currently pay the full price are able to watch it live and participate. Right now, we're doing this thing where it's called the Wheel of Foshan.
Yep.
Where you can win a Chinese name and we handwrite it for you.
Yep.
You also vote on the topics and everything. So there's a lot more perks if you're live.
Yep.
But if you can't afford it / you don't want to be there live, you don't care, join the Shaban Ho 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 sale right now.
Yes.
Get locked in, because going forward, you'll be able to stay at that half price.
Yep.
The last thing I want to say is if you're running a little bit late on Christmas gifts, you can gift a membership now to Shaban Ho.
Absolutely.
So if you know anyone that watches the China show, this is a great gift.
Yeah.
Which is awesome.
We'd love to see you there. By the way, this coming Monday is the Royal Rumble.
Yes! We'll talk about that later.
We'll talk about that later. Let's move on.
Oh, I can't wait.
Oh, it's going to be so good.
It's going to be great.
So it's Slopaganda time, my favorite part of the show.
What is that?
This is where China puts out propaganda and it just falls short. And they come up with the most ridiculous things. They really think, for some reason, that random foreigners overseas are going to care what the hopes and dreams of CCP party members are.
So I can explain that away a little bit.
Yeah.
The Chinese government has this fire hose budget. It's multi-billion dollars from the top central government.
Yep.
And it goes, go make propaganda because we want people to think that the Chinese leadership is good, right?
Yeah.
So that kind of makes sense if you're an authoritarian country, you want everyone to change their mind. Oh, dictators aren't bad. This is a good place, right?
Yeah.
Then it makes them more apt to be able to be tolerated by the populace of your country, maybe get involved in politics and swing things in the favor of China. That I understand from a nefarious kind of bad guy perspective.
Yeah.
What China gets wrong, and like what we cover in Slopaganda a lot of times, is they try to do that, but at the same time, because it's a dictatorship, you have to make the right people happy. So you have to promote certain things that nobody cares about. Because that's what happens. You have to make the right people in the right positions happy. So because of that, they promote the weirdest stuff.
Yeah, so well, I came across this one clip where they have a British guy
BBC style.
Yeah, walking around in the smoggy Beijing, trying to tell you about how cool CCP party members are.
Yeah, it's
and then he
nuts.
goes and interviews random CCP party members and tries to pretend like they have something interesting to say. The thing is, we decided instead of just showing you raw, we'd make it more relevant. So we've tweaked it a little bit.
No, we made it more honest.
Yeah, we made it honest.
Yes.
Okay,
this is an honest look.
So this
into
is
what
like
CPC members
this
do.
is truth told by shills. That's what it's like. Maybe a bit of a new segment. So let's see if you guys enjoy it. Let's
you guys enjoy this.
let's make sure we got 100% volume, and we're gonna do this. Let's go.
What are the Chinese communists like? Today, the CPC has more than 90 million members.
Only a touch more than Chairman Mao killed during the Great Leap Backwards in the Cultural Devolution.
So what are CPC members like? What makes them special or otherwise? And what are their hopes and dreams?
But first, a quick montage of me walking through the horribly polluted streets of Beijing.
This is Wuhan.
The origin of COVID, when it leaked from the Wuhan Institute of Virology and then spread around the world, after the Chinese government duped the WHO into saying that it wasn't contagious and then allowing Wuhan people to travel abroad en masse to spread the virus, killing millions globally.
We had to make sure the virus did not spread domestically, and so came up with the smart plan to allow international flights. We assembled teams that would go on to the internet and attack anybody who questioned the origins of the virus as anti-Asian. This worked in our favor. We were also able to test our population control by separating families and locking them in these so-called quarantine facilities, which were just, in fact, prisons. This allowed us to push the boundaries and see just how easy it was to control our population.
There are many other party members like Xiao in China who come to the forefront in times of hardship, doing what they can for others and for the country.
I like it.
Yeah.
It was
what
honest.
do you think?
It was very honest.
Yeah.
That's how it should have been. Notice
Yeah.
it did say parody in the top corner, just so you guys don't get too confused.
Yeah, exactly.
We may have tweaked the
Yeah, we tweaked it a little bit, but yeah.
Yes.
Quite honestly, though, it's rather infuriating when we're not going to watch the whole thing again. Don't worry, because usually we go through these things once or twice, and it's unnecessary.
This is too much material today.
But
It's a big show today, guys.
this
I love the beginning of this.
Yeah.
Setting up like, what do CCP members do? What are their hopes and dreams?
Yeah, let's take a look. What does he
Comes up
say?
with that script.
Yeah. What does he say here?
He turned into a woman.
Oh, hang on. Yeah, sorry. He's gone. This is the montage part. Just before that. Yeah. Okay. Let's see.
It's like a BBC documentary.
So, what are
Yeah.
CPC members like?
Yeah. What are CPC members like? But CPC is just CCP for those.
Yeah,
of you
it's
who
like
don't know.
their version of.
Yeah, they
saying-
want to change it to
They
try
do.
and whitewash history.
Yes.
Because if you search CPC in Google, it's not going to come up with like the Tiananmen Square massacre.
Yes.
Or any of the bad things that China is known for.
No.
You know, the Communist Party of China.
They you know, like in tennis, when they just volley a perfect shot to you, they make it real easy. That's what they did to this one.
Yeah, exactly.
The fact that they made it like this stuffy BBC documentary, like, you know, when they did those documentaries, they would walk around and be like, "We're here to see why people are so fat." You know, it's like that. It's like
exactly,
that.
yeah.
What makes them special?
What makes them special or otherwise?
We're trying to figure this out. Like, we feel like our English is pretty good. It's our native language. What makes them special? So CCP members, what makes them special or otherwise? So that
What makes him not special?
What makes them not special?
Maybe it means what makes him special or what other like interesting things.
Yeah, maybe that's what he.
You know,
Yeah.
do they have?
This is what when you let Chat GPT write your
Exactly.
Otherwise, and what are their hopes and dreams?
Yes, everybody wants to know the hopes and dreams of random CCP officials.
Imagine this. You're like, you know, you sit down, you're having a chat with all your buddies, and you're all pretty intellectual people. Somebody goes, "Man, I can't believe what's going on with the economy. Did you see what, you know, the tariffs are doing?" And they're like, "Yes, of course." Another guy chimes in, he's like, "Yes, but I think global trade shouldn't be too affected because most people are on the same page." And the next guy goes, "What are the hopes and dreams of CCP members in China?"
I mean, even if you say what are the hopes and dreams of the Senate members,
It doesn't-
it's
yeah,
like, no,
it's
it doesn't
weird.
make sense. It's like no
weird.
one cares, dude. Like that's not what you should be looking at when you're talking about government. Not their hopes and dreams. It should be like
No.
what are their policies? You know, what are they doing, etc. Anyway, it's just kind of fascinating that they thought this would be interesting.
Global Link just passed us the ball on this one.
Oh, yeah,
This is
big
too
time.
easy.
Big time,
Yeah.
big time. Ugh,
I mean,
anyway,
they cut to Wuhan.
yes,
They
that
sent him
was-
to Wuhan.
And for those who are guessing, you're guessing right. By the way, if you thought that this was a
This
whole
is
big thing
Wuhan.
about how
The
how
origin
amazing,
of COVID.
like how amazing the response to
Yes.
you know the COVID outbreak was, and you know it's all about like look how great we were.
It's
you know?
it's to, you know what it is, to whitewash all those like hundreds of millions of those capsules they made. Those
Yes.
you know those trailer hitch
It was rough. People
And people
were
are locked in them.
dude, and you know it shows you how effective the Chinese propaganda is. Because I don't want to harp on about this too much, but our audience is pretty knowledgeable when it comes to
Yes.
this stuff. But how many of you guys actually remember the fact that people were locked in their apartments for months at a time?
Yeah.
They separated children
Yeah.
away from parents and put them in a cell. Locked them in cells, and they fed them like once a day or something. Some people were almost starving to death. Some people
die.
did starve to death.
in lockdown. Yeah.
They tested them like multiple times a day, invasive, shoving this stuff up people's noses, shoving them up their arse.
Reusing the same
reusing the same thing. It was madness.
Yes.
It was absolute
hell.
madness. It was very badly done.
Yeah.
It was poorly thought out, poorly implemented.
It's the worst. One of the worst responses to COVID was China. The country where it started.
They were killing people's pets.
Yeah. Yes.
People were having to barter with their neighbors to try and survive because they didn't have enough food or enough supplies, and the government wasn't supplying, and they weren't allowed to leave their compounds, and the only time they could go downstairs was daily for the testing that they had to do. I mean, it was just crazy.
And then get COVID in the line of the tests.
Exactly. It was crazy, crazy times. But,
It was.
you would think that would make a very big impression on people.
Yes.
You would think that it would stick around and be like, it would be just as bad as big events that have happened, in the world. Like terrible things like World War II. There were horrible things. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. You would think so, but it seems like it's all swept under the carpet now.
You know what's interesting is that, and this is if you care about China's response to things, China did, when they did zero COVID and all those horrible things you just mentioned, they decided that they were just going to stop one day.
Yes.
And overnight, they stopped talking about COVID. You weren't allowed to talk about COVID anymore.
Yeah, they took all the signs down.
It's weird. It was weird if you wore a mask now.
Yeah.
It was like the opposite. Overnight, that, because of the anti-COVID protests in Shanghai, the white paper protests, which turned into democracy protests.
Yes.
So immediately the government's like, we got to stop this.
Yeah.
And they painted over all the propaganda about wearing masks and everything because they didn't want people to talk about it.
But just a day before, you would have been arrested.
Yeah.
The people were being welded into their houses. People died. That's actually what brought it to an end. Because people were welded and nailed into their apartment building. It caught fire and everybody died in there.
Yeah.
And
so the people in Shanghai were like, that's enough. And then they started calling for the, changing government. And then the government's like, anyway, my point is this specific thing that we just messed with is one of the first acknowledgements of COVID I've seen since then.
Yeah.
I have not seen them they tried to bury it.
And it's not even mentioned by its name. It's just like, when the pandemic,
It's just funny that they're kind of alluding to it again.
Yeah.
Which is
they're
weird,
like, we built all these things really great and very quickly. And, we were there to help out.
Yeah.
This is nonsense.
Dragon Ella says, striped shirt bro started a trend in shill fashion. It is there's a striped shirt thing going on.
Yes, there really is.
Stop wearing stripes.
Yeah, I think it's about time. Okay, anyway, so let me just play that out.
When it leaked from the Wuhan Institute of Virology and then spread around the world, after the Chinese government duped the WHO into saying that it wasn't contagious and then allowing Wuhan people to travel abroad en masse to spread the virus, killing millions globally.
We had to make sure the virus did not spread domestically, and so came up with the smart plan to allow international flights. We assembled teams that would go on to the internet and attack anybody who questioned the origins of the virus as anti-Asian. This worked in our favor. We were also able to test our population control by separating families and locking them in these so-called quarantine facilities, which were just, in fact, prisons. This allowed us to push the boundaries and see just how easy it was to control our population.
Literally was that.
Yeah.
There are many other party members like Xiao in China who come to the forefront in times of hardship, doing what they can for others and for the country.
Is it worth it, bro? Is
Yeah.
it worth doing the shill piece?
Probably for him. Who knows? Anyway, we made this again just to remind everybody that this absolutely crazy thing happened.
It killed 7
and
million
China's gotten away with it. Also, it killed far more than 7 million people.
I'm just showing the screen here.
China reported, 4,000 or something? Something
yes.
of 4,000?
Oh my
Ridiculous
gosh.
over the entire period. Because they just marked everyone down as dying from pneumonia.
If you ever look at the graphs of every country's COVID deaths, the only one that's absolutely absurd is China's, where it just stops.
Yeah,
They're like, no, we finished it.
Oh, it finished.
And then it was illegal to say anyone died from COVID. They threw you in jail.
Yeah.
It was nuts.
Never mind the crematoriums going 24 hours.
China's bad, dude.
Oh, yeah.
It's bad. I don't know how people didn't come out of COVID thinking that. The Chinese government's freaking bad.
One positive thing is recently I've seen the more broader acceptance that it did leak from the lab.
Yes. But I was pushed in every direction when I said that.
Yeah.
Right? When I showed what I found, I was hit from every which way direction saying that is wrong. And now people are coming out of the woodwork to say it was real.
Yeah, I know. Well, you know who they all look to.
Hey, what's that?
Actually, more relevant now, they just look to direct Chinese sources.
Yeah, they just look to direct
Chinese sources now, and I don't know how that became accepted.
Yeah, it's just not okay.
The country that
Navigate.
did it,
Yeah, exactly.
And then
Why
it
would you
became
trust
outlandish to say that it leaked from China. Mm-hmm. And there's people who are being platformed, as we'll talk about later, that are saying that it came from the U.S. They're getting platformed by Americans.
Yeah, it's crazy. We'll get into that later. We do have a huge, segment, our soft power hour, which is coming up now, which we're going to be talking.
Honestly, if you want to tell your friends right now about this live stream, there's something that's going to be relevant to a lot of people in America later on in the show.
Yeah.
A lot of people, not just about China.
Yeah.
About something very bad.
Absolutely. And we're going to be showing you all the unrest that's going on, which is actually a lot more than you might realize.
It's crazy.
Guys, I want to tell you a little bit about ground news before
For the
we continue.
country.
And I'll tell you why. Navigating the news these days is incredibly difficult. We've got left-leaning, we've got right-leaning, we've got alternative news, we've got your dad sending you a link from Facebook. Let's face it, it's difficult to figure out what's really going on. And that's why I love ground news. They are an incredibly useful tool. It gives me a transparent look at where the news is coming from. Let's take this China assembles largest naval force near Taiwan in decades article, for instance. I can see the bias distribution, I can see where the news is coming from, and more importantly, I can look at all of the different headlines. This headline comparison feature is so good. For instance, this left-leaning headline, it's a big picture and emphasizes China drawing a red line around Taiwan, whereas this right-leaning headline focuses on the specific number of Chinese military aircraft and ships. And I can click the bias comparison, which shows me things like how the left is employing charged language like heightened military activity. This really helps me shape my idea of what's going on with this particular news article. If you're tired of biased reporting and want to see the bigger picture, check out ground.news/SerpentZA, where you can get 50% off the Unlimited Access Vantage plan. This is the best deal of the year. And if you're already subscribed, you can even gift a subscription to friends or family. So click the link in the description or scan the QR code to support Ground News and my channel. And now, back to the show. So, Ground News is a fantastic tool that we both use. And the reason it's so good is, listen, we live in a very multipolar world. Okay, we've got...
That's a terrible China buzzword.
Yeah, it is, isn't it? But we basically have a lot of bias coming from all sides. And so, listen, you're not going to escape bias, but at least if you have a service like Ground News, you can see what's happening.
I think most importantly is that we are asked by you guys all the time where we get our news sources, and Ground News literally helps us delineate what we use and don't use.
It's just good to know if a news article is coming out of a very left-leaning publication or a very right-leaning publication or a central one. It just helps.
I like to see, personally, I like to see what sides avoid what issues, because then I can know, I should look into that. You know what I mean? It's really useful. Anyway,
it's free anyway. The link is in the description and in the pinned comment later. So please go check it out, guys. They're very, very good, and we can recommend the service. Yeah. All right. So it's Soft Power Hour. This is where we talk about how China's trying to change your mind through propaganda and whatnot.
Today, it's pretty much everything what they're covering up.
Yes. China wants you to believe that the economy is doing great. I don't know. It's doing
Great.
Seriously, though, if you keep up with the propagandists out there, they're showing night shots of like Shanghai or something and saying, look at how, if anyone ever tells you China's economy is doing, badly, look at this.
And it's like lights mean economy well.
LED lights powered by coal burning power plants means you have a good economy. I don't get it.
There's no more pollution and the economy's good, apparently.
Yeah. So
it's the opposite. Yeah.
They keep going on about how great the economy is. So I would like to pose the question to all of you guys. If the economy is doing fantastic, why are we seeing scenes like this erupt all over China?
It's crazy. It's like anarchy.
Yeah. So this is in Dongguan, which is close to where we used to live, a place called Yichangshu's.
Actually, we've been right near here because our friend worked in a shoe factory here too. Well,
So what's happening here, guys, is that the workers who have not been paid their wages for months have blockaded the road and are not allowing traffic through. Now, in China, there's a saying called 吃苦, which means to eat bitter. and it means to put up with a lot of shit, basically.
That's what it means.
Excuse my language.
It's true.
But
You are true.
what'll happen is a boss will demand far more, especially from migrant workers and factory workers, demand far more than they signed up for, right? So you'll end up working overtime without pay.
It's borderline slave labor.
It is, yeah. You work overtime without pay. You'll work on the weekends, 6-day, 7-day weeks often.
You're far from home, and you're locked in there
Yeah.
until they decide you can leave.
Yeah, exactly. They will, you know, it works on this kind of internal passport system called the hukou.
Yes.
So if you're working in another city, you don't really have any rights in that city. So the migrant workers really get taken advantage of. It's terrible.
Can I throw a quick anecdote?
Sure.
One time, there was a situation where this local guy went into the police station because of some altercation, and because he had a local hukou, he's from that city, the police helped him. A guy came in to complain about something because we were in there talking about a stolen motorcycle. A guy came in there and he didn't have a local hukou. He's a local factory worker in a local factory, but didn't have a local hukou. And the police literally made him leave the police station.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter that he's a Chinese citizen.
Yeah, it's terrible. Your kids can't go to school in that city if you don't have a local hukou.
You have no help.
Can't get a bank loan.
Yeah.
You can't do anything.
But
it's terrible.
Victims of crimes are the worst because they don't have no recourse.
Yeah, you
Anyway,
can't even rent if you don't have a local hukou.
Yeah.
So you have to stay in a factory dormitory. Anyway,
Sorry.
so this whole idea of eating bitter means that they will suffer a lot of injustices for a very long time. And for Chinese people in general, especially the migrant workers, to actually take a stand means they've been pushed very, very, very far.
Yes.
Now, these guys apparently hadn't received wages for 6 months. That's half a year.
6 months, no
Yeah,
wages.
exactly.
And they're already in slave conditions.
Yeah, you know, and the factories can get away with this because they provide housing. You know, they provide like a really crappy housing. You've got tons of people shoved into a tiny room all on bunk beds, and they will provide some kind of food. So, like, they can still live.
Yes.
So it also traps them in that way.
We also specifically know about the factory situation with the shoes in this place because we had a friend from Italy who, I shouldn't say he owned it. He was part of the management there, and he was appalled at the standards that the Chinese bosses were giving the workers.
Dongguan is very famous for shoe factories.
And China makes the most shoes in the world. For
Exactly. Anyway, so that's what's happening here. They're trying to, they're standing up because... Take the volume down a bit. They're standing up because they weren't paid. By the way, Dongguan is not some middle of the nowhere place.
Oh, it's millions of people.
It is
millions.
also one of the biggest manufacturing hubs in China.
Yes, it's where everything's made. If you check your toys, like kids' toys, it always says Dongguan on it.
Yeah, exactly. So we're not talking about a random factory in the middle of nowhere. We're talking about a big manufacturing hub. So when you're talking about the economy of China, this particular city is tied into the economy in a big way. So if you've got factories that are not paying their workers' wages, you know something's not right.
In the wealthy city.
Yeah,
very wealthy city.
Correct. Okay, now very far away.
Yes.
You used to live there.
I did. Love it.
Okay, Baotou, Inner Mongolia, December 18th, the Datran New Energy Company.
Yep.
Well, again, wages have not been paid in months. So all of the...
And this is a wealthy factory, by the way. I'm
wealthy.
very familiar with this. The new energy and the rare earth factories up there, they pay well compared to what you hear about in China. They are withholding wages, and this is an industry with money.
And
That's
again,
how bad it's gotten.
You know, when you see a scene like this, if you're from the West, you would expect that this might be some kind of union strike, or maybe people are demanding higher wages or better working conditions.
They're not getting paid.
No, they are just there because they haven't been paid their wages that are owed to them for months.
So this is Datran New Energy, but at the same time, in the same city, we've now gotten reports from people that they're not paying the police officers there either. So state wages aren't coming through either.
Yeah.
There's no money. Yeah. And this, again, is a very wealthy area.
Yeah.
One of the wealthiest because of rare earth. They've stormed into the party office there.
Yeah. In Shanghai, China, this Jüri Auto, this is a much bigger story than we're letting on.
Big.
We could have made a whole show about this. Yeah. But there's this crazy situation where this very big EV, electric, it's kind of like Tesla, and it's got massive backers backing it. It went bankrupt. But the way the workers found out that they're going to lose their job was in a live stream.
Yikes.
And they were live streaming, and the person live streaming the new model of the car and everything, they actually found out that most everyone's going to be laid off.
Yeah.
So
They stormed in.
yeah, I'll turn the volume down. It's
Yeah, it's unnecessary.
you can see that a lot of the workers who found out, hey, they're actually going to lose their jobs, they're not going to have a job tomorrow type thing, stormed in to try and get answers. But this, again, is just part of this massive cash grab.
All over the country.
Yeah. This is, again, a completely different city, very far away from the other places we've just shown you.
Also a different situation,
Yeah.
but completely tied into the economy is failing in China right now.
Yeah. So, again, China's trying to portray this image that the economy is gangbusters.
Yeah.
You know, it's amazing.
Well, that's what authoritarian dictatorships do, is they have to portray that to the rest of the world because they need the rest of the world's money. China doesn't innovate or make anything.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't make new stuff.
Yeah, they make things, but it's stuff that exists.
That's what I mean. It's stuff that exists. So if you don't have innovation to steal from other countries and you don't have foreign investment in those industries, the only reason China is as rich as it is today is from foreign investment.
Yes.
And the hard work of Chinese workers.
Yes.
Then you don't have those elements, then China goes done. It's kaput.
Yeah.
Right, it's over. And this is what we're seeing. Like, I think people expect some sort of massive like civil war or something to break out. This is what happens before the crazy unrest, and actually the unrest is unveiling right now all over the country.
Yeah, which you'll see shortly. So I'll just fast forward this because it's a long clip and just, from different angles of some of the people that were there. And then this was taken about a week before the next clip you're going to see, where they actually went to their industrial complex there, to sit there and do a stand-in.
Yeah.
This is the same company. And everybody's still not being paid. They still don't have their job. They've all lost their jobs. They're trying to figure out what's going on, So it's not looking good for them. Now we're going to look at something a little different, but still along the same lines. Okay, the Dalian metro station in Liaoning, just a couple of days ago, December 14th, it's spectacularly caught on fire, as we're going to see here.
China's new trains, shiny new metro stations. You see all these shill videos of these CCP shills, Chinese government shills. They go to all these new metro stations and unfortunately never talk about the fact that they're made of absolute garbage.
And just the safety standards are terrible, especially worker safety is incredibly low in China.
Yes.
And there are actual statistics that prove that the worker safety in China is far inferior to most places in the world, actually. And you see these things happen all the time. This is pretty big, brand new, on fire.
Big city. Very big in terms of soft power. China really promotes these metro stations.
Yes.
Look how fast we build them. Look how fast they catch on fire.
Yeah. Exactly.
Of course, they arrest people that leak these videos, and they delete them off the internet.
Again, you will often see these comparisons. If you even go on YouTube, they'll say New York subway versus China subway, and they'll show like a really grim, grotty, side of the New York subway, which is 100 years old. Not making excuses. It is filthy in many places. But they'll show that. They'll find the worst. And then they'll show a brand new station that's just been built in China and say, look how much more advanced China is.
And then go pay a shill to go film it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But the difference is, though, that they don't show the fact that the metros in China might be new, but the safety standards are very low. Like the fact that many, many people drowned to death in that metro when there was a flood because the infrastructure couldn't handle the water.
Yeah.
People were not warned. The warning system, they on purpose didn't warn people about it. They let them get on there. So what would you rather have? A filthy subway that's got graffiti everywhere and it's gross and there's like crazy people wandering around on it every once in a while? Or would you rather have a nice, clean, amazing subway that you will just die in? Which one? Which would you rather have?
I'd rather have the dirty
Would you
one.
rather have a slow and painful death by drowning
You notice that
or see a rat?
Yeah, do you notice there's never any promotion of like New York City's new subways though? They're very beautiful, pristine subways because America doesn't need to do propaganda.
Yeah, America doesn't do propaganda.
No.
Not in that
don't
way.
do
anyway.
that
Not
here.
overt propaganda,
No.
Okay, anyway, another funny clip here. We wanted to show you of a let's take a look here. Yeah.
Oh,
a very close call.
Wow.
Yeah. As you can see, this guy apparently was drunk and fell asleep.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's what you do, right?
Yeah. And very, very near miss.
Oh, yikes. See a lot of those in China, that's for sure. Yes, sirree, Bob. All right, what do we got here?
This is just another little funny clip over here.
We're
You can
just
see
breaking
the
up a little
three-wheeler.
of the
Yeah,
negative
we
energy.
gotta, make things
it's
funny.
tipped.
You
He's
can
tipped.
see this is a very wholesome clip. You see the guy's tipped there,
Yeah.
and he's stuck in his like three-wheeler until a good Samaritan comes and like puts him back on his wheels.
That's nice.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah,
that's good.
It's always good to see.
Props to that dude. And he waves. I like that.
And off he goes. Yeah, those little three-wheel things are interesting,
They're
but
chaotic, though.
Yeah, and not very safe.
No.
Put it that way. Yeah. Anyway, that was pretty funny. This, on the other hand, is not great.
Whoa!
Apparently, this guy's fancy new EV lost control.
So it just throttle stuck open.
Yeah, just accelerated.
Wow.
But I would like to just play that again. By the way, we're going to get back to the worker revolt stuff in a
for
minute.
Sure. Just breaking it up.
Yeah, we got to break it up. I just wanted to play this again because it so perfectly and neatly erases the booms.
It does.
I mean, you can see over there, you've got the boom machines, you've got the scanners.
Yeah, it's a full scene.
It's great. It's like 1 second you see it, and then
Wow, it does just vaporize.
1
it.
second you don't. Like everything's gone. It looks like they brought in a team to like clean it up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like a before and
He's the
after in
cleanup
reverse.
crew,
Yeah.
yeah.
Exactly. It's gone.
Wow.
And that thing was.
So you have Chinese EVs malfunctioning and going chaotic.
You got a Chinese EV company going bankrupt overnight.
Didn't you tell me the other day there was a guy that was locked in his own car in the highway or something?
Yeah, I posted it on Twitter, but there was a guy driving his new, I think it's the Ideal something or other EV. You can go, I've got the model and everything. But he's driving it, and it received an over-the-air update, which, EVs do that.
Yeah.
It's like one of the, I guess, the positives of them maybe, is they can get new features and stuff.
Sorry,
Anyway.
I'm not a fan.
Yeah, okay, so he's driving in traffic, receives an over-the-air update, and his car froze. His door's locked, he couldn't get out of the car, and it stopped. His brakes stopped responding, all of his controls stopped responding, and he just got stuck in the middle of traffic
Oh my god!
while this update did its thing.
Wow,
Yeah, so imagine that. And he couldn't get out of the car because all of the doors were locked.
that's insane.
Yeah, that's not good.
That's nuts.
It's really nuts. Anyway, so, this is the aftermath, obviously. Guy wipes that stuff out. Luckily, no one was killed or injured.
Wow.
Luckily. But you could see that could be very bad.
Yes. Wow.
I mean,
That's
he
crazy.
mashed a bunch of other cars and knocked
Yeah.
down whatever was there.
Thankfully, I think they were parked.
Yeah.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah, there's an aerial shot. Yeah. So let's go back to Ningbo.
Okay.
This place is the biting, dying factory. Don't worry, it's not where you die. You go to die.
Are you sure?
You do. Yeah. Okay.
Are you sure?
So this is where you dye things.
Yeah. So we've been talking a little bit about this thing. We've kind of shown you that people have been setting factories on fire. It's also been explosions, and the reason is that wage disputes.
Yes.
There's worker disputes, and just this general feeling of revenge on society that's happening across China right now.
Correct. And this is actually the workers set fire to the factory because
Just
they
burning
hadn't
it
been
down.
paid their wages once
Yeah.
again. So can you see what's happening here, guys? We're talking about all different industries.
And corners of China.
Yeah, all over China. So we've got energy industry.
Yep.
We've got the shoemaking
Yeah,
industry.
good point.
We've got the dyeing industry.
Yes.
I mean, what the hell is a dyeing industry? Sounds like a
Everything needs dye.
It's like one of those assisted euthanasia. That's the dyeing industry. You know what I mean? Anyway, sorry.
That's
Went grim. Sorry, but we've got the dyeing industry here.
Yeah. They're setting factories on fire
Yes.
on purpose. I don't know how many times we can reiterate this, but
Yeah.
we're going to keep covering it if it happens.
Oh, yeah.
It's happening everywhere.
Yeah, for
They're
sure.
burning the economy down on purpose.
Well, I mean, the fact of the matter is they haven't been paid again for months.
Yeah, I mean, I don't excuse any sort of this behavior, but
Yeah, arson's never
it's
cool.
It's at a breaking
hot.
point. Hot. As Gavin Newsom says, it's hot.
Yeah,
I'll
exactly.
Take two.
Yeah, I'll take two of them. Exactly.
If you don't know what we're talking about, Gavin Newsom went to China and then talked about how much he liked these rip-off Chinese EVs and said, I'll
Yeah.
take two. It's hot.
Yeah, I'll take two. Yeah. Anyway, so yeah, the factory workers were like, nope. If you're not going to pay us, we're going to burn the factory down, and that's
This
pretty
is
much what
Ruin
they did.
Nation, that
Yep.
trend that we keep talking about. Mm-hmm. Tianjin construction site, biting to, sorry, I don't know why, that's just
Oh, that's a typo. It's
Tianjin
just a
construction
Tianjin
site.
construction site on December 15th.
So this is near Beijing, so this is up north, again, completely
very
far
close
away.
to Beijing.
Yeah, completely far away from the dyeing factory.
Yes, exactly. And the construction workers had not been paid their salary in months again, so they set fire to the construction site.
See, Ruin Nation? It's happening in every corner of China. It's almost becoming ubiquitous. It's like a uniquely Chinese thing now.
Yeah.
It's like, let's destroy the country.
Yeah. It's like, if we're not going to get paid, then, screw it. Now,
you'd think this would make more international news.
Yeah, you would.
Would you not?
I would.
Like, I can you pause it for a second? I don't want to do, because I don't want to even bring this up, but you know what just happened in Germany, right?
Yes. Sorry,
awful, horrific tragedy.
Yes.
Right? Now, this isn't the Germany show, obviously, but people are talking about it as they should, because it's a horrific terrorist
Correct. It's making international news.
As it should.
Yes.
But where was all of the Chinese run over stories?
Yeah.
Because every day somebody was running over crowds of people in their car in terrorist events to kill innocent people in China.
Yeah.
But where was that?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's horrific.
It's like this. You'd think if this happened in a different country, like especially a Western country, all of a sudden all these factories are being set on fire and exploding on purpose.
Yeah.
And it's over wage disputes and economic downturn. That would make huge news.
It would be very big.
Where is this? Where is it on the news?
Yeah. It's almost like no one cares.
Yeah. It's either no one cares or it's just not a big deal for stories, I guess, because it doesn't impact someone's life.
I also think
I don't know.
censorship has a huge
for
role
sure.
to play. The
It doesn't
Chinese
make it
government
out, right?
doesn't want that kind of news to go out there. The Chinese government doesn't want the international news looking at the fact that, like 40, almost 100 people were killed around that Zhuhai stadium by a guy driving over everyone.
Yeah.
Far more than the German incident.
Both bad.
Or potentially about the
Both
same.
bad.
Of course. Not one is better than the other.
Where's the story?
It's cowardly. Anyone who drives into crowds of people is disgusting. It's a horrible thing, and I hate that exists.
Where's the story?
Yeah, that's what we're trying to say is the fact that this has been happening on a daily basis in China for a long time now.
And stabbing.
Yeah, no one talks about it.
It's bizarre.
Yeah.
It's really weird. You know, in China's right now, they're trying to boost up their tourism industry, so they're really stifling stories like that.
yeah.
They want people to go and spend their foreign currency in China.
Yes.
Right, so I get it. But, I don't know. It's weird.
Yeah, exactly. Anyway, so this is still the construction site that's on fire in Tianjin. And I mean, that's pretty epic. Again, just worker revolt. They weren't paid, so they did it.
This is the stuff, by the way, just to reiterate, this is the stuff that leaks. This is the stuff that got out. You have to understand how many incidents that don't get out because they're quashed.
Yes.
The people that took the video go to jail. They get deleted, and we don't even get to see them.
There are lots of stories. A lot of these stories, by the way, when something bad happens, the first priority is to suppress the spreading of the videos.
Yes.
Even before the incident is taken care of.
Yeah.
I've got quite a few examples of that, which I'll bring up in future shows. But
I think when we did our first factory burning down on purpose episode, I would look up a city, like just one city, and then type in factory fire. And there would be multiple in one city in a couple years.
Yeah.
In one city out of
Sure.
thousands of cities, right?
Correct.
This is happening everywhere.
Yeah, it is. It's insane.
It's crazy.
Yeah. This is, like we said, happening all over the country. We've just given you a small smattering of examples here of how crazy this is. And all of these incidents are linked to wage disputes.
Yes.
So you know that when big state companies and companies that are attached to the state aren't paying wages, that means the economy is not doing well.
No.
It's very simple.
They safeguard the state companies first.
Yeah. Talk is cheap, but you can demonstrate it.
Yeah.
You can show it. Hey, listen, you can say the economy's great all day.
The
but
foreign
then
ministry in
why is
China
this
can say
happening?
that all day,
Yeah.
but then we can just show you this video. We can show you these videos.
Yeah.
So you can shut up. You're lying.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, so we got a lot of coverage of that one. Sorry. Also, in Wuhan, there's a fire too in a tourist area.
The tourist area.
The tourist area. This is where you will go.
Yeah.
We're not sure of the cause of this,
Yeah.
but the fact that it's not talked
It's in a
about.
high priority area, and they tried to wipe it. So again, show it. This is the reality of the situation.
Yeah, that's pretty big news. Like if there was a fire in Times Square, I'm pretty sure it'd make the news.
For sure.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's no small thing. Now what in Anhui? This is wild.
This is wild.
Put the volume up. Take a look at what happened here.
That's an explosion. Whoa. It was a huge explosion. Why is this not on the news? Why is this not on the news?
Yeah.
It was huge.
It was the underground pipes, and I believe it's the underground pipes to do with heating.
Yeah, that's correct. Look at this.
And it's big destruction.
It was massive explosion.
The Royal Rumble.
What's this?
Before we do that, I just want to go back because that's something you need to take a look at. Again, a couple days ago, guys, we're talking about the ground erupting and destroying, I don't know how many cars, causing damage to properties all around, windows being shattered, you know. We're talking about, like, this is not some small little event. It's not like, oh, you know, a little gas explosion here or something. It's huge. But again, you don't hear about it, do you?
No, you don't.
Yeah. So, it's...
by the way,
What's
just
that?
breaking.
What's that?
I guess a college in the U.S.
Yeah.
In Virginia.
Yeah.
Was bought by a Chinese-owned company.
Yep.
Just burned down.
Oh, it just burned down.
Yeah. Just now.
That's bizarre.
It's crazy, eh? Anyway.
Wonder what the connection is.
Yeah, I just thought it was a relatively interesting. I mean, because I saw it in the chat.
Okay, I got you. The Royal Rumble is coming.
The annual The China Show's Royal Rumble is this year's main event.
Characters from the China Show come out one by one and they bring their beef.
The first year, Jaunty had a great performance.
Great.
But he wasn't so lucky the following year.
Tractor bulldozed Ballsack for a stunning victory in year 2.
Winston, Jaunty's been looking for his second victory. But he's really, for lack of better words, pissed at the Haze Runner because he, in fact, is the fastest man in the world.
I'm the fastest man in the world. Nobody can stop me.
Not that wheezing maniac.
Also, don't forget, the new kid on the block, or should I say new brick in the wall, Mason, who's really angry with his neighbor Salte Waters, who plays his music too loud.
What a wonderful song. How come I've never heard it before?
It's been a little too much for Rick,
Wow, that's a little too much for me.
who's been replaced by Raging Roger. This is the feud of the year.
Join us at the Shaban Ho live tier to watch this year's main event, this year's Royal Rumble, as it happens with live commentary from C-Milk and Winston. You will be there and you will enjoy it. You will follow us, okay?
You'll follow me, okay?
Or you can support us at any other tier level to see it after it airs live.
Don't forget, you can gift patron memberships and bring the joy of the Royal Rumble to your family this season.
We'll see you in the ring on December 23rd at 5 p.m. EST. Be there or the frog gets peed on. Yeah. Hell yeah, brother.
Yeah,
Royal Rumble, are you pumped?
very much so. It's coming this Monday. I can't wait.
I can't believe it. It's going to be at normal show time, 5 p.m. EST. You're going to be there live if you're in the Shaban Ho live tier. We'll make it go live after it's done airing.
It's going to be amazing. By the way, this year upgraded graphics.
Oh,
Yeah.
mean, it's just real. So
Yeah. Well, you know,
clear
I mean-
camera. You mean?
Yeah,
high
it's
def
just,
cameras.
It's high def. It's
Yeah,
in
nice.
4K. It's in
Ooh.
Ultra HD. It's going to be great.
Love
we can't
it.
wait.
Absolutely love it. So it's the last chance to get in there.
Yep.
Remember, if you're on the patreon.com/ADV podcast at any tier, right after it goes live, you can watch it. You'll probably want to watch it live with us. It's going to be freaking amazing.
Yep.
We do live commentary. We don't watch it ahead of time because it's live.
Yeah.
It's a live event, and we will do live commentary as it happens. We have no idea
Yeah.
who the winner is.
We have
this
not
year.
watched it. We don't know. We won't know. We'll be watching it live with you.
Can't wait.
Yeah, me too.
Can't wait.
It's the event of the year.
It is.
It's literally, it's like the thing I look forward to the most every year.
Me too.
Yeah.
That sounds ridiculous,
Yeah,
but it's so fun.
true. Yes.
I actually want to put my bets. I think the Haze Runner is going to win this year.
You think Haze Runner? Let's take
He's
a
the
look.
man of the year.
Yep.
You'll follow me, okay?
Who do you think?
It's hard to say, man. You know, I really hope the protest guy gets in there.
Protest.
Protest. Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, we don't
He
know.
loves test.
Yeah, he loves
We
test.
don't know who's in it.
No, we don't.
Yeah.
Well, it's time to move on, guys, to Beyond the Great Firewall. Do you want to explain what that is?
That is where I translate something that's been going viral in China so that you guys can get a better understanding of Chinese society.
Correct.
So what's been happening here, it's been quite interesting.
Yeah.
There has been this clip that's going around, and this guy has discovered this very typical Dongbei guy, Northeast guy. They have a very specific accent.
Yeah.
His clip's been going viral because he's very confused as he has put out multiple dishes of food.
Yes. For his picnic. He's going to have
his
this
picnic.
epic picnic in the dirt. Where
He's noticed a trend.
By the way, if you notice, he's got a bottle of hard liquor.
Of course, you always do.
You'd always do.
Especially in Dongbei.
This is his feast that he's laid out.
Yes, and for some reason, every time he does this, only the dishes that his mom cooked at home by hand attracts flies.
今天我发现一个奇怪的现象，就是你们发现没有？就是所有的苍蝇都在就是。
So he's basically like, hey, friends, I found something really weird happening here. Look at all my dishes out here, but the only ones the flies are sitting on are the ones that my mother made.
Yes.
So you see the dumplings and the big mantou. That big thing in the background is like a steamed bread.
Yeah, his
like
mom's, only the stuff his mom's steamed, he says, is attracting flies. But not the rest.
You would think that's an insult, but in this particular instance, it's not an insult.
Because he's freaking worried.
It's like, oh, your food attracts flies. But meanwhile, why are flies not interested in the other stuff?
Yeah, you should be concerned if there are no flies on your food.
Exactly.
我妈蒸的这个馒头跟饺子上落脚，然后从市场买的这些小菜，他们连碰都不碰啊！
So look at all
这里边
these
掺
small
啥东
dishes.
西了
Those are
呀
called？ small dishes, side dishes. Why are they not attracting
But
flies?
it's true, though.
It's a real
This
problem.
is like a scientific method experiment.
yes.
Because, look, it's out there in the wild.
Yes.
He hasn't gone and put the flies on there. You can see they're flying around.
Yeah.
But they're choosing not to sit on the store-bought stuff.
Correct.
You know what I mean?
Weird?
It's very weird.
Full of chemicals.
Yeah,
that's
it's
why.
because it's literally like toxic. And they're like, well, we're flies. We have standards.
People are always like, oh, processed foods in America is this whole trend, and people
it's
are becoming
way worse in China.
absolutely insane.
GMO.
China's like an industrial wasteland. Like the food is industrial runoff.
In China, you actually want the GMO stuff.
Yes.
'Cause,
yes.
Yeah, you don't want non-GMO because you don't know
No.
what it is. It's plastic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway,
All right.
so he didn't stop there.
No, he didn't stop there. So now he made an experiment. He put different kinds of food in his little van.
看昨天晚上做实验的结果，谁拍假视频谁天打五雷轰啊！看，老鼠，只有这个原生态馒头被吃了，其他的一口都没少。看好了啊！
He's like, look, only my mom's mantou got eaten by the mice, but the others, the mice didn't even take a nibble.
The rats.
The rats.
You know what I love about
Laosu,
this? I might think this might be a different guy doing the experiment, but it doesn't matter. My point is the fact that the first guy is concerned about flies, so somebody else goes, let's try this out with rats.
Exactly.
But he's concerned that some of these things were not eaten by rats, right?
Yes.
Only his mother made stuff.
Yes.
I'd be more concerned. Why are there rats in your van?
I know. That's what I was thinking. That
he doesn't explain that.
Yeah. Did you leave? So you left them overnight in your van, and then to see which ones the rats would eat.
Yeah. But that implies that there's rats in your van.
You carried
Would
around
you
rats.
drive a van if there were rats in it?
I don't know, man. A rat van? Yeah.
Would you do
when
that?
they say it's kind of a ratty car? In this case, it really is. Yeah, but...
So it was going viral because of the whole, they're not eating the store-bought bread. Yeah. I think it should be going viral because this man has rats in his van.
Yeah, exactly. I think you're probably right about that, yes. But it's very true, though. It's very worrying.
Yes.
But again... One thing I did find out about China is, bakeries where you buy this stuff, it looks nice, right? They'll make stuff that looks nice, but it doesn't taste nice.
No,
it doesn't taste what it looks like.
Bad. It's not hot.
No, and it all tastes the same.
Yes.
that like
greasy,
sweet greasy,
bread.
like that leaves a film on your mouth.
It's got like a pink sausage in it and sweet mayonnaise.
It's got that pork floss.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Anyway,
yeah.
It's the worst.
It
Chinese
is.
food's the best, but Chinese bakeries suck.
So bad, so bad.
3个月饼老鼠不吃，在市场上买的馍馍这个。老鼠不吃，这原生态馒头老鼠吃了，面包老鼠不吃。
which ones.
Yeah, it's like, this one. He's being. I mean, it's kind of dumb. He's like, see this one over here? The mouse. The rat didn't eat this one. And you see this one?
The rat
didn't eat this one, but it ate this one.
Thanks for telling.
Yeah, thanks. You already said that.
面包老鼠不吃，大家。
So this is interesting. This has been going around in Guangdong, where we used to live.
This is on the 15th. Yeah.
Basically, the cops have been pulling people over, I guess, for cargo.
Yes, they've been measuring cargo, and if it's over a certain length, they get fined.
Yes. So people are in an uproar because they're getting fines, but they've already measured it, and it's fine. It's within limits.
Yeah, so the driver has already measured his payload, and he's like, okay, this is within spec.
Yes, but
the cops pull him over. They say, like, no, this is too long or
and
something.
there's tons of people falling victim to this. So this guy took a video, or a woman took a video of this.
Yeah.
Are you sure this ruler is right? The cop says. He says, this is, the company issues them uniformly. Today, and so he goes, today I won't take your vehicle, but your behavior is really wrong. But we're following the rules. Why did your ruler expand so much? Right? Look, 3 meters. This is 3.4 meters.
Yes.
Pause that there. Right
I'll
so
go back. Yeah. I'll go back to the little pause.
So we've actually covered this from a different perspective.
Yeah.
We kind of discovered that, a lot of this tofu drag stuff that you hear about all the time, all these things falling apart, it's all wonky, so things fall apart. The building quality in China is so bad. And we realize there's an epidemic of wrong measuring tapes in China.
Yes, just the lack of calibration and lack of standards and oversight. So it's like, you just buy a bunch of cheap measuring tapes, and you'll have construction workers, we've shown you the footage of multiple, not just one scene, where the construction workers all line up on the same job site, line up their measuring tapes, and they're all wrong.
Yeah, all of them.
Not even two of them are the same.
And they're on the same project.
Yeah, so you're like, okay, put a pile in the ground every 3 meters or something. Imagine all your measuring tapes are wrong, so now it's all out of whack.
That's why China. We actually think that's why China's building quality is partially the reason is because of that.
Yeah,
and it's happening here.
Yeah, you can see. And so the cops have got like a scam measuring tape, basically, so they can scam people. They can measure it and see, like, oh, look, you're not up to spec, and then fine them. There's proof.
Yep.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, it is. It's really crazy.
Yeah.
Anyway, this has been going on, and people are getting pissed.
Oh, yeah, I would too.
Me too.
Because that's a huge chunk of your wage.
It's true.
Yeah.
It's true.
What's this lovely blank screen that you've procured for us?
I haven't done
over
anything.
Here?
This is life.
Oh, it's just...
We're just hanging out in the dark.
Just hanging out. Yeah, it's getting a bit
dark
dark over here. Is a Gru going to eat your face?
Is it playing? There you go.
Oh, there we go. Worldview, everyone, where we talk about what's happening in the world, specifically with regards to China. Got some very interesting things happening right now.
Yes. So you guys know about the potential TikTok ban, right?
Yes.
So what happened was TikTok appealed to the Biden administration.
By the way, it's not actually a ban.
It's not a ban. It was a forced sale.
You'll still be able to, even if it does get like forced sale or something, you can still access it. It's a Chinese company.
Yes, but
it's on the internet.
Correct.
It's like you can go to Baidu.com.
Yeah, exactly. Anyway, the issue is either the Chinese government, which is part ownership of ByteDance, at least that's what people are alleging, TikTok is potentially a tool to be able to infiltrate.
You're dancing around. It's just
I'm dancing around.
You're just dancing. It is. It's a Chinese-owned company. Every company that's owned by China must do what the Communist Party says.
I understand. I'm not dancing around. I'm reading the article.
Oh, you're reading. You're reading the article. Okay. I mean, it's good.
I think it is.
It's good. Like, here's the thing. You can play by the rules and be like, allegedly this, and it's potentially that. And I'll just tell my objective truth, which is usually right. For those of you who don't know me, I'm a very judgmental person, okay? And I can talk a lot of crap. But when it comes to TikTok, I worked for Tencent when I was in China. I've worked for Chinese tech companies, and I know how they operate. And every single one of them has a party member. In fact, usually a whole floor dedicated to party members, at least a party room, and they have to answer to the Communist Party of China. There's no two ways. There are no private companies. Yeah. So if a company is a Chinese-owned company, it must report to the Communist Party, and it must do what the Communist Party says.
Like I disagree with it.
No. I appreciate your professional candor, and you go ahead and do that.
Right, but don't act like I don't have the exact
No, I know
same
you
opinion.
do, but people can have an opinion but not say it.
Right, but I do say it.
Okay, good.
TikTok is 100% compromised.
There we go. Yes, we converted him. I'm just kidding.
I'm spearheaded this entire thing on our platforms. I have done 4 or 5 videos. You just turned Italian
all of a sudden?
Yes. I have done 4 or 5 videos about this years ago, talking about how it's compromised.
I know.
I want this to happen.
Good. I wanted to bring that out. Now we can continue.
It's been brought out. I'm the guy that brought it out. I did it. I made the videos. Anyway.
Yep.
Jokes aside.
Yeah.
Here's the issue.
Yeah.
The vote that went in passed, right? They said TikTok, you either sell to an American company or you're taken off shelves here in America, right? So that you can't compromise or influence Americans. Went through, they appealed, they're like, nah, right? Awesome, right? Good stuff. Now, it's right at the end, but the Supreme Court is going to hear TikTok's challenge now. So this is really the final hurrah. We'll see where this goes. I think, personally, if you're an American that's worried about national security and China's influence, I think a forced sale to an American company is absolutely necessary. In my worst case scenario, which I think could be used or is probably currently being used, okay, is TikTok doesn't get sold, it doesn't get banned in America, and China can then use it to talk to half of the entire country in America that uses TikTok and tell them what they have decided the appropriate message, how to vote, how to participate in society, what to think of China's leadership, all of these horrible, horrible things. And I can tell you that when I was on TikTok and I posted content that was not violent, it did not break community guidelines or anything, I was banned. All my videos were basically taken down and I was banned very quickly. And then the TikTok dude went into court and said, no, we don't do that kind of stuff. We don't ban people for that. You can post whatever you want. I said, absolutely not. That was my experiment. I didn't want to be on there. But I posted my content and I was removed for talking about China. So if you don't think it's involved, then you're delusional, right? Number two, when I went through their threat reports, right, I did a deep dive. I went inside the TikTok's threat reports, right? And they're like, look, it's basically these like internal documents that they put out for people to see, right? Be like, look at our due diligence. Look at how we take data security safety. We take the lead, right? They go, look, we found influence campaigns from Poland, from Israel, these are government influence campaigns that use TikTok for their own purposes. We found it from Ukraine, from all these countries. They name all these countries. And they don't list China as one of the countries that their analysts found for foreign influence campaigns.
Come on.
I'm sorry.
How many clips of Chongqing Hongyadong at night are there on TikTok?
And how much Chinese propaganda did I find from state accounts on TikTok on my videos?
It's crazy.
Are you ignoring me? I think you are.
You know what I also find very interesting is, you know how they've got this long process and they can challenge and appeal and stuff. Do you know how China banned Google and Facebook and Instagram and everything else? You know how they did that? They just did it. And then, you know, Google or Facebook or something would be like, hey, why isn't it working? They're like, oh, by the way, we just banned you. You know, there was no process.
Yes.
There was no discussion. There was no chance for a challenge.
Yes.
It was just like, you're gone.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Personally,
Kinda unfair.
I think if you're a patriotic American that cares about national security in America because of China, I think you should support a forced sale of this app. It is a very big threat to our country's safety. I think so.
Personally, what I think as a citizen of the world, what the hell do people call themselves if they don't really have a nationality?
You do.
Yeah, I do. Well, what? I'm going to say South African? Yeah. Well, okay. As a non-proud South African, somebody who really doesn't respect his own country because it sucks, I'm going to say that TikTok is a problem for everyone. Yeah. And it's definitely a problem for people in South Africa too.
Yeah, for sure. I'm just talking
massive amounts of propaganda is pushed to South African
then tell your country to do something about it because America's doing something about it.
Exactly. Right. Do something about it. South Africa. Oh, never mind. Sorry, you guys don't even have power, so you can't even be watching it right now. Let's move on. Yeah.
Ouch.
Ouch. Yeah, what's next?
Moving on, we have some more stories here.
Yeah.
There are some big ones actually today.
Right.
I wonder which order they're going to be.
Yeah, what's coming up? It looks like it's taking its time.
We're just absorbing this. Okay, this is interesting.
Yes.
This was about Prince Andrew.
Can you talk about this? Because the only thing that I'm getting from this is like a very painful piercing.
Why?
Because you keep saying Prince Andrew, but I keep hearing Prince Albert.
Ouch.
Anyway.
Hot.
I just want to know what's going on because whenever the royal family gets brought up, I just switch. Crap. I switch off.
I don't care about the royal family, but I did pay attention to this because it's related to the Chinese government.
Yeah.
So Yang Tengbo, this guy, Yang Tengbo, he is apparently connected to Prince Andrew. He is a Chinese spy. Now, that's a big deal because Prince Andrew is obviously involved in the government of the UK, right?
Isn't he the guy who's in like the weird Epstein Island stuff and all that?
Is it?
I think he is.
Well,
Seems like a sus
actually
dude.
don't know that.
Seems like a bit of a sus dude.
Well, apparently the king's not very happy.
Well, I wouldn't be either. You know, King Charles is a upstanding fellow.
Sure.
You know?
Yang Tongbo, 50 years old, a Chinese businessman and alleged spy, was banned from the UK. Mm-hmm. Born in Yunnan, 1974. Graduated with a degree in archival science from Yunnan University in 1995 and worked in a state institution for 7 years before moving abroad for further education. Ooh. Uh-oh.
Yep.
First traveled to the UK in 2002, studied in London, and later earned a master's degree in public administration and public policy from the University of York. Founded Hampton Group International in 2005. Served as executive chairman of the UK Chinese Business Association. Red flag, red flag, red flag.
Oh, yes.
How many of these business friendship or associations
That's just
sprung up?
United Front.
Yes.
Every time. Yeah.
Granted indefinite leave to remain in the UK in 2013, averaging 2 weeks monthly stays in the UK prior to the pandemic. Here's the allegations.
2 week monthly. So he's there for half a month every month.
Correct.
Okay.
UK authorities allege Yang has strong ties with Prince Andrew and other politicians aimed at leveraging relationships for China. Banned in the UK on national security grounds by Homeland Security Suella Braverman in March 2023 after a tribunal ruling. Initiated legal actions against the UK government concerning these allegations and data retention after being stopped at the UK border in November 2021. So they banned him on national security grounds. I don't think they do this randomly.
And especially the UK these days, to ban someone from the UK it's almost unheard of. They're very accepting. You could be pretty much anyone and they won't stop you.
Right.
So if they're going to stop this guy, he's done something very
right?
badly. Yeah.
Well,
very
here's what happened.
Okay.
Data from his devices linked him to the Chinese government and the United Front Work Department.
Of course.
This guy's got ties to the royal family and is in the United Front. Do you know what the United Front Department is? Mm-hmm. This is China's foreign influence branch of the government. Yep. It's to go take over sovereign nations for the interests of China.
Yes.
So this is, it's basically spies that go and do the worst things possible.
Correct.
Home Office claims he occasionally obscured links to the Chinese Communist Party and had connections that could facilitate political interference. That's what you want in the UK, right? Mm. His honorary membership in London-based 48 Group Club was cited as a potential leverage for Beijing. His connection to Prince Andrew. He was a key figure in launching Pitch at Palace, China, a project supporting entrepreneurs initiated by Prince Andrew. Communications existed between Yang and Prince Andrew's advisor regarding Yang representing the prince in China. Mm. Prince Andrew stated that he ceased contact with Mr. Yang following government advice. This is his defense.
Okay.
Yang has denied all allegations, asserting that he has no connections to Chinese politics or the Communist Party. Claims he is a victim of deteriorating UK-China relations and political climate. The Chinese Foreign Ministry criticized the UK's allegation as unjust and fabricated. You know what I love about this? He's saying the thing that China says.
Yes.
When China is like, if somebody gets arrested or something, it has to be because of bad relations between...
Did you hear the Chinese Communist Party told England to stop stirring trouble?
Stop stirring trouble about this. Meaning don't look into it because it's true.
By the way, what is pitch at palace? Is that when you throw pitch at the palace?
At this point, maybe you should.
Yeah, like what is that? Yeah,
maybe you should.
All I'm getting from all of this is I think if you want an easy end to the royal family, you got to go through this Prince Andrew guy. You got to give him a package of like Turkish delights or something. Yeah. Say, hey, here, mate, like can you put in a word?
Salted duck.
Yeah, exactly.
It's funny though, is this has way bigger implications, and actually maybe next time we'll talk about the other story because we're going a bit long.
Yeah, we are.
Because we have a big story coming up.
Yeah, we do have a big story.
Our biggest story is coming up.
Yeah, actually.
In this episode.
Yeah.
It's not here yet.
No.
It's here. It's in the episode, but it'll probably be in 5 or 10 minutes.
Yeah, we'll see. What's next?
Next up on the roster, what do we have today? I don't want to look at that guy anymore. So, remember we told you guys about the secret police stations.
By the way, talking about United Front, this is part of
this is the United Front. Mm-hmm. So, China was running secret police stations in the U.S.
All over the world, actually.
All over the world, but specifically in the U.S. that we talked about.
Yeah.
The FBI found one in Manhattan, and they took it down, right?
Yeah.
And we didn't hear about it too much after that because I guess they're probably investigating, because this guy finally that was running the show, he basically, his job was to set up this police station to help Chinese people with overseas problems. And what they do is they go find dissidents. They go find people like us, people that speak out against the Chinese government.
Yeah.
They go find Falun Gong practitioners, people that are against the Chinese government.
Yeah.
They go find them, get information on them, hunt them down, try to get them back into China, so
intimidate them on foreign soil. Say, look, here we are a police station here. We're going to take you in. We're going to deal with your family. They take them in, get them on like a video chat with their family back in China, and say, if you don't stop what you're doing, if you don't come back to China right now or whatever, your family
if you
gets
don't delete your tweets.
Yeah, exactly.
So this is real. This is called transnational repression. This is one of the worst possible crimes a foreign country can do on American soil or anywhere.
Yeah.
And they're doing this actively in America right now, but they've been getting caught. So this guy... it actually admitted to creating. He's pleading guilty.
Yeah, he admitted to it. So it's no longer deniable.
It's so funny because the China's foreign ministry, you know what they said? What? They said, we don't do that. We abide by America's laws. We don't do this kind of stuff. So why would you plead guilty to it?
Yeah, exactly.
And they caught him with all the evidence. China, when faced with hard evidence that they're spying or hacking, they're doing all this horrible stuff, right? Gets served on a silver platter. The people then go to court and say, I'm guilty, I did this, this, and this. And China goes, no, we didn't do any of that
That's
stuff.
kind of like with COVID. You're like, oh, look, it came from Wuhan. They're like, nah, Fort Detrick in America.
Yeah.
No, it came from Italy.
No, we didn't do that.
No, it came from random other countries.
Yes. They blamed everywhere.
Yeah. Everywhere else. But it's like, dude, come on. It's right. Just admit it. Let's work together here. Don't be such a douche.
So support support this crackdown because they're making some headway.
Yeah.
And they're catching the bad guys, which is good.
They are. It's fantastic.
And China's denying all of it.
Yeah.
You can skip past this.
Okay.
This is a good article you can read down below.
Okay, so you've linked it down below for people who want to look at a ship article.
Well, it's proving how intertwined Russia and China's economies are in their defense cooperation. China is going to be a key negotiator in the Russia-Ukraine war, right?
Well, that's because they love Russia.
I'm saying, isn't it hilarious?
It is. What's this nonsense?
This is that's a companion article to the Prince Andrew thing.
Okay,
this is a great one. This explains the United Front and the Prince Andrew situation. It's down below in the description. Go ahead and read that. Really
Excellent.
Good one.
Yeah, please do. I think it's important to realize.
I think if you're going to be a democracy apologist or a person that stands up to the Chinese government, you have to understand the United Front, so read through that.
Do you think Prince Andrew would prefer Turkish delights, or do you think he'd devour a haggis? I have a feeling...
Scottish? I don't think he's
No,
Scottish.
but I mean, by the look of him, he just looks like a man who would sit down and devour a haggis in one
Can
sitting.
I be honest with you?
What?
I have no idea what he looks like.
Look him up.
I've only read words. Oh, that's him?
Yeah.
What's wrong with his eye?
Just take a look at a better picture, because that's like a random headshot. Like, doesn't he just look like he could devour a haggis?
He looks like... I feel like he looks like someone that... Oh, you know what he looks like?
Yeah.
Do you know what he looks like?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
He should wear a helmet.
Yeah, he should wear a stupid bike helmet. Yeah, exactly.
He does.
Looks exactly like that.
Well, birds of a feather.
Yes, exactly.
Sometimes you can just, sometimes there's a type.
Yeah, there is. Anyway, let's move on. There's
a shield, China's shield that looks just like him.
Yeah, popular internet routers made by, you say router, right? No, yeah, you say router.
I say router.
Okay, so routers made by China's TP-Link could be banned in the US.
This is wild. So these routers, or routers as you would say,
router,
they are 65% of America's market share.
Do you know why?
Why?
They're very cheap.
Yes.
They're the number one selling on Amazon. It costs around about $85 for a very advanced router with Wi-Fi 6 and all the bells and whistles. Something you would usually pay at least $200 for if you got a real brand. When I say real brand, obviously it's a real brand. TP-Link, I've used their stuff in the past when I was in China. I used their stuff in South Africa before I moved to China. They've been around a long time. Problem with TP-Link is that, this whole Salt Typhoon and all these Volt Typhoons and all these blah, blah, blah
They're
typhoons.
serious. Those are the most serious things that have happened to America.
Exactly. There's big hacks. Well, I mean, think about it. TP-Link is now a Chinese company. It's beholden to the Chinese government. So it's pretty easy for the Chinese intelligence and the hacking groups to go to TP-Link and say, okay, explain exactly what your source code is, explain exactly how your routers work, explain exactly how we gain access to this and that, and they must release it.
Yes.
They can't say no. And because it's sold all over the world, this is all theoretical, but it's very easy to see how the Chinese government could quickly and easily gain access to all of those.
It's absolutely a national security concern, especially with the fact that the Chinese government's right now living inside of our critical infrastructure.
Yes.
They've hacked America's critical infrastructure and are getting ready to destroy the country from the inside out. That's not a conspiracy. They've done this. They published this. They're in it right now, ready to turn off the electricity and the water supply. They've also hacked the telecoms networks.
Sure.
And they're using compromised hardware or easy to compromise hardware, like these routers.
If you guys do have a TP-Link router, please replace it.
I would. That would be my advice.
Please replace it with something else. If you can, replace it with something like Asus, which is from Taiwan.
Yeah, or what are the other brands?
Well, I like Asus. I like what's that other one? What's the Nighthawk one?
Yeah, that one.
I think that's also Asus, isn't it?
No.
Look it up. We give some people some options here. Anyway,
Netgear.
Netgear, yes. Netgear is
That's
good.
a good one.
Yeah. Let's see what other ones.
Linksys.
Oh, Linksys is great. I love
use
Linksys. Yeah.
Netgear, Linksys, Cisco, Asus.
Yes, Linksys is Cisco. Well, it used to be part of it.
I use Linksys. It's good.
Yeah.
To me, that's like it's like the alternative to TP Link.
Yes, exactly. Anyway, TP toilet paper link. It's the weak link. It's the weakest link. I would suggest getting rid of it. I know they're cheap. I know they're very convenient. But you know what? Do you really want the Chinese government in your home? Yes. They probably are already if you have a TP link. Just saying. Yeah. Let's move on from TP link.
Toilet paper.
It is. Need TP for my bunghole. You know that old thing? Literally.
Shove a turd up your bunghole.
Exactly.
Shout
Kick you
out
in
to
the
Slayers.
nards. Yeah. Let's move on.
Anyway, I know. We're covering very serious news, and we're talking about '90s memes.
Yeah, exactly.
These are long slides, guys, and I apologize.
What did you do?
I don't know. Oh, this was the actual thing. Anyway, you guys can read that.
Yeah, exactly. It's done there.
This again. Very, very important link. Microsoft identified the actual attack. It's called Storm 0940.
Yeah.
Microsoft's been doing amazing work, by the way, with threat detection from China. And they identified that this was the hack that would take advantage or could take advantage of the TP-Link routers. So this has been identified. It's not necessarily hypothetical.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay. We have to talk about this guy. Now, please bear with us for a little bit here. Okay. Before I even start to talk about this guy.
This is the big story.
Guys, I want to lay this down. When it comes to politics, okay, I can't stand it. I'm not American, first of all, okay? Trump, Biden, Harris, nothing to do with me, all right? I'll be honest with you. I don't pick a side, and I don't take a sides with this. I really don't. I see what's positive on both sides and what's negative on both sides. The way politics are treated in America is like a religion. It annoys me to no end because people can't see the wood for the trees. The other day we mentioned on the show that some of the policies from the Biden government against like the chips and things like that.
In China, yeah.
Yeah, the policies against China.
Great.
We said that some of those policies were good.
Absolutely.
Because we said some of the policies from Biden's government are good, people thought we were raging Biden supporters.
By the way, some of Trump's China policies were great.
Yes.
Biden's were great. We support the things that are in America's best interest,
exactly.
in our opinion.
Yeah. So just because of that incident, I wanted to make it very clear here. A policy from a certain government or certain things that, under Biden's government or under Trump's government doesn't mean that we support, like, we're suddenly like a left-winger or a right-winger.
No.
And that's what annoys me is people, they get so trapped in like their figurehead. They have to support this person. And if you say something's good from the other guy, then suddenly you're a traitor.
Yes.
No, it's not that. Okay. So I wanted to get that out the way because there's a very, very dangerous thing happening right now.
Yes.
In the political sphere. This guy that you see on screen here, his name is Jeffrey Sachs. He is a World Economic Fund, like one of the biggest guys in the World Economic Fund. So if you want to talk about globalism or deep state or whatever, you're looking at him.
Right.
Okay. This guy is a propagandist for the CCP. He appears on Chinese state media every week. He is a stringer on CGTN and on Xinhua New China Daily. This guy is used by the Chinese government and shills daily. You cannot go to any like weird pro-Russia sites, weird pro-China sites. This guy's used as an expert. He's bought on every time. Okay. And he's like a chameleon. He changes his colors.
Yes.
But there's one thing that he always does is he blames America first for everything.
Yes.
He supports dictators but blames America.
Yes.
And he doesn't do it in a constructive way. He's not there to say, hey, we've got a problem, let's fix it. He is like, America needs to be burned to the ground and we got to give the power to the dictators.
Assad was not a bad guy.
According to him.
The Chinese government is good and the Belt and Road Initiative is good.
Yeah, Xi Jinping, the Communist Party is great.
The Kremlin is good.
Mm-hmm.
Any dictatorship.
Maduro, whatever, from Venezuela.
Yes.
This guy,
Maduro.
he will support any any power that is not America. And he will not criticize them. No. He will only criticize America. This guy's very dangerous. He's an academic. He's very smart. And he's used as an expert.
He is ABP.
Okay.
Play ABP real quick.
I will.
You know.
Yeah.
America Bad Party. America Bad Party. America Bad at all costs.
Yeah. Now, the reason we're bringing this up is this guy was featured in a very long interview, like a 2-hour interview on Tucker Carlson's show, and he's boosted by Elon Musk. Now, think what you will about Tucker Carlson or Elon Musk. Again, I don't want to get into that debate because, you know what? People support them, people don't support them. That's up to you. It's your own personal choice. What I have to point out is that if you see this guy, Jeffrey Sachs, being used as an expert, you know that you are listening to Chinese propaganda. Okay, that's our wheelhouse. We talk about Chinese propaganda. This guy is a Chinese propagandist. Now, I'd also like to show you what kind of a bullshit chameleon this guy is. So I want to show you this little clip. I'd like you to pay attention.
I'm counting on President Trump to change this. I think his instinct is right. I think his sense is right. He stands to be a great and historic president.
So he said that on the Tucker Carlson show, okay? Because he knows right now this is going to get him the best way to attack America is to pretend to be pro-Trump. Because that's, if you go on and you're negative towards Trump on the Tucker Carlson show, it's not going to work, right? Let's see what he said just a year or two ago.
Trump was a psychopath and absolutely incapable of honest behavior, either within the United States or internationally. So try to have global cooperation with a psychopathic president whose motto is America first.
I'm counting on President Trump to change this. I think his instinct is right. I think his sense is right.
But Trump was a psychopath and absolutely incapable of honest behavior. It certainly never went through the head of that dingbat president of ours.
So I just wanted to show you. He's like, he's going to be a great president. I trust him to do this. Oh, he's a psychopath dingbat president when it suited him last time. It doesn't end there.
He stands to be a great and historic president. I think the Biden administration has been the worst of our governments in modern history.
Last year was the worst. Not only was the pandemic overtaking our politics in each of our countries, but we had Donald Trump as president. But Trump was a psychopath and absolutely incapable of honest behavior, either within the United States or internationally. So try to have global cooperation with a psychopathic president whose motto is America first.
So did you see how, first of all, he's like, the Biden administration is the worst. Then he's like, no, Trump is the worst.
Yeah. And then prior to that, he said Trump's administration is the worst.
Look at what he's saying. He's saying a psychopathic president whose motto is America first.
Yes. I like how that's said in a derogatory way, by the way.
So if you are America first, you're a psychopathic president. Yes. You're bad.
It kind of shows what his goal is.
Because he doesn't want America to be first. He wants America to be last.
He supports dictators.
Yes.
He is what we call a tanky. Dictatorship is better. He will
tanky.
support whatever gets him populist support at the moment, and say the complete opposite. Right now, going forward, now you understand he's obviously a flip-flopper, but we need to talk about why this is bad.
Yeah, and
this is his view.
Again, this is why I want to say, this idea of accepting a person just because he supports your leader at the time or your preferred candidate, you can see just how damaging someone like this is. Because now he's pro-Trump. Look how pro-Trump he is. Yeah. He's like, I expect that he knows what he's doing.
But he's a leftist, by the way.
Yeah, he's a massive leftist. Yeah.
So it's very
And he's globalist, World Economic Fund, deep state guy.
This is the crazy thing. Is this guy was platformed on Tucker Carlson, right?
Yeah.
Who does nothing but talk about the deep state and WEF.
Yes.
But then has a guy from the WEF deep state, right, talk about and platform him and not challenge him on anything he said.
Correct.
Except how bad America is,
didn't
how
ask
it's
him
going to destroy the world, and he promoted China.
Yeah, and didn't ask him why he called Trump a psychopathic dingbat, and many other things. But we're not done.
It just doesn't work.
I think the Biden administration has been the worst.
Last year was the worst.
But surely in a context like this is a catastrophe largely created by the U.S. because, as was said earlier, this is an all-or-nothing strategy. What Trump just doesn't understand.
I'm counting on President Trump to change this. I think his instinct is right. I think his sense is right.
But Trump was a psychopath.
So a Venezuelan tweeted this out. He said, "Here's Tucker Carlson's great expert blaming Donald Trump and America for destroying my native Venezuela. He's a puppet of socialist tyrants and the United States, one of my...
United Nations.
Sorry, United Nations. Why did I say United States? It's just on the brain. One of the many evil apologists of socialist regime that destroyed my country."
That's from a Venezuelan.
That's from a Venezuelan. And for people who are familiar with the China sphere like we are, we know this guy to be a complete apologist for the Chinese Communist Party.
CCP shill.
We have a little bit of proof of that, by the way. Mr. Kasparov, who you may know as a very smart man.
World chess champion.
He's a world chess champion. Had this to say. He said, Sachs is one of the many leftists whose pro-authoritarian socialism has been revealed to be simple anti-Americanism at its core. The brutality of Maduro, Xi, Assad, Putin, it all gets swept aside to blame America first. Tucker and Musk promote him for their own isolationist agenda. Or goals, I should say, sorry. And he retweeted something I put out, which was, so the guy hates Trump, hates America, hates Biden, worships dictators, and is China's most prolific state media propagandist, but he's some sort of expert to be trusted. How does this happen? The guy literally wants the West to fail. And that's because for many years now, we've both been keeping an eye on the Chinese propaganda outlets.
Yes.
We've both been keeping an eye on the China shills. And this Jeffrey Sachs has been interviewed and been part of some of the worst. Most bottom of the barrel.
Overt CCP propaganda.
And Russian too.
You
know, the gray zone. He's been on all these, we're talking about really bad anti-America, anti-West organizations use this guy to further their agendas. So to see him now being shared out to millions and millions and millions of people by somebody that they trust, like Tucker Carlson or Elon Musk, is such a gut punch to anyone who has any sort of common sense.
Or is pro-democracy.
Yeah.
Right. Why are we platforming... Not we. Why is Tucker platforming a guy that wants America to fail at all costs and has proven that he will change to any team that he thinks will further that goal?
Correct.
Or get him a voice to be able to do this anti-American propaganda. I would be so worried if this guy ever went out, this Sachs guy ever went out and endorsed like the political candidate or something, like someone that was going to take a specific office or something. If you started pushing someone like that, that would be worrying because that means that is working towards his goal of America failing.
Yes,
right? It's
and
super
China
worrying.
Taking over, Russia taking over, anyone who's opposing America. Because
I was going to say until you realize it doesn't matter. It just it's who will make America fail.
This guy has never criticized China. He doesn't criticize any of the adversaries of America. He always criticizes America, and whether it's the Bush administration, whether it's Ronald Reagan, whether it's Clinton, it's always something. Venezuela's failures because of America.
Yes.
The Nord Stream pipeline.
But Venezuela's dictator is good.
He pushed the Nord Stream pipeline narrative.
Yes.
He was used as a expert on all the Russian TV and all of the China TV and every other adversary
about
to
how
say,
America blew up the Nord Stream
he
pipeline.
is the guy who they got on to ratify this and to say yes. And he didn't say it's a possibility. He said America did destroy the pipeline.
Right. He also didn't say that COVID came from China.
He said COVID came from America.
Yes.
We'll show you in a minute. Anyway, this was a nice little breakdown. I'm not familiar with this particular individual too much, but he wrote a very, very succinct thing here. He said, Jeffrey Sachs critiques the West from a position of extreme bias. Most prominently, he is deeply intertwined with the Chinese Communist Party. Did he not find time in the Tucker interview to disclose the fact that he had a paid position promoting China's Belt and Road Initiative?
Show you that in a minute.
Did he disclose that he believes the U.S. is responsible for COVID? He blames Fauci, but with a sleight of hand in mind. And that China is a scapegoat? Did he disclose that he helped write a position paper for the Chinese telecom giant Huawei? You know, when the Huawei kidnapping, hostage diplomacy thing happened? He defended Huawei. He actually left Twitter because of that whole thing. He wrote a massive thing to say how Huawei's innocent and Huawei's amazing and all that other crap, because he's a big Huawei guy.
Anybody that was involved with apologizing for Huawei and accepting China's hostage taking is to be under serious scrutiny, in my opinion.
Correct. Did he inform the audience that he is listed as a senior researcher for a CCP-controlled Chinese state institution? Did he tell the audience that he is the most prominent non-Chinese anti-American voice on Chinese state media, and that he appears on Chinese state media every single week to praise the CCP and castigate American society?
Hundreds of times.
Now, we've got proof.
And you get people saying, well, Tucker's just trying to listen to, some differing opinions. You platformed a China shill for the CCP that wants the destruction of America.
Yeah.
That goes on there every week.
Yes.
It's so on the nose.
If you watch any of his things on Chinese state media, he's always trashing America.
Yes.
He trashes America.
Because it furthers their goal.
Yeah. Sachs believes America is the problem in the world, and his solution is to grant power and influence to America's adversaries. He's a propagandist and a hardcore leftist. He is infatuated with China, and he despises the foundations of America. Don't take the bait. Sachs is undoubtedly a professional and high-level operative. He advances legitimate critiques about the American government and our ruling class, which recruits an audience of Americans who are under the impression that he comes from a place of virtue and good intentions. But at the end of the day, he seeks American decline.
I don't know, this Jordan guy, I don't know who he is, but he said it better than I ever could.
Exactly. Sachs is a demagogue.
Yes.
That's what he is.
Yes.
And he will latch on to issues that people find very dear.
And the current ruling party.
Yeah, exactly. He will latch onto these issues and push them, but not to try and resolve the issues, not to try and bring change, but to actually destroy America. That's his end goal, is to give power to China.
So why?
And Russia and the World Economic Fund and the deep state and, globalization.
Then why is he being platformed by people that spoke out against those
Yes,
things?
that's the craziest part, is that he's being platformed by the very people that usually are against globalization
and
deep state and WEF and
you put the guy on. You gave him the guy a chair.
He is that.
He's the thing.
He's all of that. He's a Soros bro. He's wrapped up in everything, and you're like using him as an expert. What?
And don't challenge anything he says, and allow him to share Chinese propaganda and go. I mean, it gets me so upset.
Yeah.
It gets me so freaking upset.
Yeah.
It's insane what just happened. And then, by the way,
yeah.
And I'm not going to trample anyone, because we're not going to I don't want to trample anyone's feelings here.
Yeah.
But to then go on that show, not be challenged.
Not be challenged
Be
at all.
platformed by the guy that hates all those things.
Yeah.
And then promoted by Elon Musk and retweeted saying, interesting.
Yeah.
This was an interesting interview. I think we're in this realm of post-truth.
Yes.
Where now, to get around actually just saying, yes, I love China. I love the Chinese government and I like their money. I like dictatorships. I hate the US and I hate America and Americans. Instead of saying those things, now you say, just asking questions, bro. Those are just kind of interesting questions, bro. That's how you dance around it.
Yeah.
Right? That is the cowardly way to deal with things. Just say what you are. Just say it.
You know what? It's kind of like if you had a dying person, okay?
Yes.
And you don't know how to save them. But you know of a doctor. But this doctor hates that person.
Mm-hmm.
This doctor actually wants that person to die. And you bring him in like, how do we fix this guy? How do we make him healthy? And he's like, well, what we could do is we could inject some arsenic into him and feed him some antifreeze. And you're like, okay, that sounds good.
Yes.
That's what's happening here.
Yes.
Anyway, some highlights from Sachs state media reel. China is not a threat to the U.S., but to U.S. hegemony. U.S. meddling only endangers Taiwan. China's problem is the U.S.'s policies. China is not the enemy. Corporate greed is. This is just a little bit, but there are far worse ones than that. This is a cursory look. If I search his name on CGTN, for instance, he appears there weekly. But if you were to look at any of these...
China's propaganda
that
arm.
is the
arm of the propaganda department in China.
100% funded by the Chinese government. 100%,
It's beyond that. It's the propaganda arm.
You may not have an opinion that the Chinese government doesn't want. These are just some of the videos that he appears in on CGTN. Because, there are hundreds and hundreds of these things. New China TV, again.
The arm of the Chinese propaganda department.
And if you look at some of these titles, you'll see that every single one of them is talking about how America sucks and China's good, and how it's America's fault.
He does not criticize China. He appears on their propaganda department to make America fail.
Yeah.
It's simple.
Now, do you understand why we're talking about this?
Why we'd be upset? Because we don't get involved in this.
No, we don't get involved in the whole Israel versus Palestine versus whatever politics, because that's not our wheelhouse.
We talk about China.
We talk about China. And this guy is a Chinese propagandist who is now being used and promoted by very influential people. And that's why we're talking about it, because we know this guy and we know how dangerous he is. He's a massive King Tanky.
King conservative, Mr. Tucker, all due respect, is platforming a radical socialist anarchist at this point, Tanky, who only promotes dictatorships and hates America.
Yeah, I mean,
why?
Look, here's a video. Here's a video where he's used as an expert. Jeffrey Sachs, U.S. biotech cartel behind COVID origins and cover-up.
You gotta be kidding me! And this is on a communist platform, by the way.
Yes, yeah. I mean, you can't get any. He is an enemy to America. This guy. He's an enemy to every American person. He is not out to fix the problems in America. He's out to destroy it. All right, and all of America's adversaries use him. Russian TV, Russian state media TV. Uses him. Chinese state media
and
uses
all their
him.
amplifiers.
Correct. You know, we're harping on about this, but that's because it's important. If you ever see this guy turn up, you need to be forewarned. You need to have knowledge. All right. Here, I'm a very big supporter of the Belt and Road, initiative. U.S. economist Jeffrey Sachs.
Xinhua is funded.
It's funded. Exactly. So he's out there supporting all of China's ambitions, of all their neocolonialism, all of that kind of stuff. He's got no criticisms of that.
No.
The human rights abuses, anything.
I don't like that we're now living in a country where it is being embraced by both sides to just hate America at all costs without offering solutions.
Yes.
And then at the same time, you get duped. I think that guy you showed us tweets offered the best perspective on this. You get duped because you say that's a legitimate criticism of the American government.
Yeah.
And now you're in the Trojan horse with Jeffrey Sachs
and
as
Soros
he
and whoever
storms
else.
in, or whoever you think is the enemy, right?
Yeah.
Storms in the gates into the U.S. with the actual purpose of destroying it on behalf of foreign adversaries.
Correct.
And my favorite thing about this was in this interview with Tucker, right? Do you know what he said?
What?
He said, China doesn't, this is why we're supposed to get along with China. China doesn't threaten America. I'm sorry, but what do you call Salt and Volt Typhoon?
Yes.
When the Chinese government hired hackers to target civilian infrastructure, not military, civilian water and electrical supply, to turn off people's things to cause anarchy and chaos in America so that they implode, so we implode, and they can invade Taiwan.
Yeah.
You can't just go on a platform, Tucker's platform, and say China doesn't threaten the U.S. China only threatens the U.S. Only threatens the U.S.
Have you ever seen Chinese state media? It's mad anti-American.
You're blind.
It's crazy. I mean, never mind the fact that they, in a very real way, damaged the U.S. through COVID by covering it up, and through all these predatory practices of taking over the shipping, forcing Temu and Shine and all that stuff, which take advantage of the developing nation status. There's a lot of things we could harp on about, but it's not necessary. Just wanted to point out, because there was a very funny thing that happened on X. I said this guy shouldn't be trusted because he's a Chinese Communist Party shill. Somebody said, yeah, that's exactly what a deep state shill would say to me.
Deep state WEF shill.
Yeah. I'm like, dude, Jeffrey Sachs is the deep state. Look at him. He
is.
Like,
if you believe in this deep state thing, that's a different
Then
topic.
He is.
Yeah,
then
he's the guy.
He is the deep state. Look, the World Economic Forum, Jeffrey D. Sachs, agenda contributor, co-chair advisory board, Global Competitiveness World Economic Forum,
director of the Earth Institute, Columbia University.
He's
in the WEF. He's getting platformed by these people that hate the WEF so much. What's going on?
I know. There he is at the World Government Summit. You want to talk about globalization? Anyone who's got a problem with globalization should have a problem with Jeffrey Sachs, because he is globalization.
But he
is like the embodiment of globalization.
But he got platformed on an anti-globalist thing.
Yeah, I know. That's the point.
What's happening here?
That's why I'm saying whether you agree with globalization or not is not the point
doesn't matter.
here. The point is that he's being platformed and boosted by people that are against globalization, but he is globalization.
Yes.
You could take him and squeeze him into a ball and draw the continents on him. He is a globe. And then slam dunk him into the cesspit where he belongs. Anyway, sorry. But I'm serious, This is another one of his quotes from a speech he gave, where he's like, all the major problems we face are global, and here I include everything from COVID-19 to climate change, the collapse of biodiversity, mass blah, 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 blah. At the end of the thing, he's like, Trump was foolish. It's proof of the idiocy of the America First.
Proof.
Yeah, sorry, he is proof of the idiocy of the America First concept.
And now Trump's his hero.
Exactly.
It shows you. This is slimy foreign influence. This is what this is.
You see how he's talking about accelerating globalization, which is what he wants, because he's a globalist. But again, it points out he hates Trump. So if somebody's going to have a staunch point of view like that, if you go out there and you say you hate Trump and you call him a dingbat, you call him a psychopath like he did, and then all of a sudden you're like, oh, Trump is great. I trust what he's going to do. He's going to be a great president.
Yeah.
You know, how can anyone take this person seriously? Because if you're willing to flip-flop like that, it just shows that you are not sincere, that you have a weird agenda. And in this case, he has the agenda of weakening America and strengthening China and Russia.
Appearing on Chinese state media of the propaganda arm hundreds of times over and over again to only talk about the downfall of America and how the CCP is good, it should already tell you that.
And this is another, as you can see, here's an article by Jeffrey D. Sachs, Trump's last stand for apartheid America. I am a South African. I know a lot about apartheid, so I thought I'd just bring this up. He says, the long history of America's state-sponsored racism will draw to an end in the coming generation, yet the damage that Trump's brand of white nationalism could still cause to the US and the world if he wins a second term makes the election easily the most important in modern American history. Do you see this? He said, and I'll say this again, the long history of America's state-sponsored racism will draw to an end in the coming generation. Yet the damage that the Trump's brand of white nationalism could still cause the US and the world if he wins a second term.
What a slime ball to flip-flop like that.
Yeah, he's literally saying, oh no, if Trump gets a second term, then his white nationalism, racism, America's state-sponsored racism is going to flourish. He's bad. And then he's like, oh, I trust Trump. I think he's, he could be a great president.
What a slime ball.
Why? I'm pretty sure that all the things he's saying here, like, again, whether you agree with him or not, I'm pretty sure Tucker Carlson doesn't take this stance. Or Elon Musk. I'm pretty sure.
At this point, I have no idea. You know what I want to watch?
What?
I'll ask the audience to do this. Tell me, going forward, because I do want to point something out where we got this right. When we started seeing some things like Tucker start talking about Russian talking points, like pro-Kremlin talking points, we never talked about it too much because we talk about China, right?
Right.
But we did say there is a slippery slope, and we hope he doesn't end up doing China propaganda, right? I would be curious, and this is not an accusation, this is going forward, let's see.
Yeah.
I want to see if both Elon and Tucker ever, going forward, starting today, go forward, criticize China.
Yeah.
If they don't, there's a big problem, because that was a big part of his platform before. The threat of the Chinese government, which I agree with him on.
Yes.
I want to see, does Elon or Tucker criticize China going forward? I would be very curious. After this interview, I would be very curious to see that.
I'd also be very curious to see Jeffrey Sachs actually criticize China.
Yeah.
Which he won't.
Please try.
Yeah, he won't. He won't. Anyway, I'm sorry, guys. We don't like to get political. It's something we really don't like to do on this show. And the only reason we're getting political is because it's deeply connected to what we do, which is China and Chinese propaganda. And to see one of China's in fact, the most prolific non-Chinese propagandist be put on blast by Tucker Carlson and Elon Musk.
Retweeted by Elon,
is, and not just retweeted, Elon Musk has taken parts of the interview and tweeted them out himself.
Yeah. Oh, like just from the interview.
We're seeing China's biggest propagandist be used as some kind of an expert
on America.
It's a gut punch. It's like, what are you doing?
We were disgusted.
Yeah, it's like
we were so disgusted we had to talk about it.
You're putting America's enemy out there.
Yes.
And saying, listen to this man.
Yeah.
Anyway, we can go on.
By the way, I just want to throw this out there. Tucker did platform him twice. 6 months ago, he had Jeffrey Sachs on as well.
Yeah, that's right.
Just letting you know.
It's Yum-Cha time, guys. Sorry, this is where we get to answer your questions and you question our answers. And before we get into Yum-Cha, and before we say adieu to the people that are not watching live, we wanted to shout something out. Fantastic. We have a member of the audience here, a member of our community, a big member of our community. Her name is Dragonilla. and she made a fantastic video about the China show. We wanted to show you a little clip from that, if you don't mind.
Just the intro, yeah.
Yes, let's take a
Hej
quick
allihopa! Hi everyone! Dragonilla here! You might be wondering, why is this pink dragon VTuber who usually talks about new age scams suddenly talking about a political podcast? Well, it actually makes a lot of sense. Let me explain. The reason I started this channel at all was simple. I can't stand people who knowingly hurt others in serious ways with lies and empty promises. That is exactly why I support the China Show. This podcast gives a voice to those living under some of the most oppressive and harmful systems in the world.
She made this.
Yeah, she drew this picture.
How sick is
so
that?
awesome.
She makes
That's
us look
really
way
cool.
cooler than we really are.
Yeah, it makes us look 10 years younger.
I do want to say, I watched this video and I was absolutely humbled because she made some amazing points. And actually what it caused me to do is watch her other videos. And she does great deep dive analysis on like new age scam stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
Which I
like
hate
alternative
that kind of stuff,
medicine
so it's
things.
great.
Yeah.
She makes such good content.
Yeah.
Like scam alternative medicine stuff. And then it makes sense why she likes us because we do the same thing with
we
CCP.
want to do a subscribe brigade. We'd love every single one of you guys. Let's show some support to Dragonilla for making such an incredible video.
Right
Please
now.
go to her channel. There it is.
Right
at
now,
Dragonilla.
I'm going to pin it.
Go give us subscribe and say the China Show sent me. We would love that. Because she's a massive, you might not know this, but she is a massive contributor to the show.
She is.
She makes artwork. She's a big part of the Shaban Ho. And she's been a part of everything we do for a very long time. And we absolutely adore her and everything that she does for us. And we'd like to show some support back. So if you guys can go and subscribe to her, that would be a huge
I'd like you to do
favor.
it right now.
Yeah, please
Pull
do
up
it.
a tab right now. Let's do it. It's like a subscribe party.
Yeah.